In my honest opinion, there's only one way to maximize fat burning instantly. Whether you're doing triathlete training or cycling training, the optimal way to do zone 2 training is with Zwift. And today we're going to talk about that. Welcome to the channel. My name is Calvin, aka C Smith. I have done many Zwift rides. I have over 10 million sweat drops on Zwift. That's hard to imagine. And I also love to use Trainer Road for my cycling indoor training. Zwift is my preferred platform for zone 2 training and to maximize fat burning benefits. But before we hop into it, just in case you're new to the indoor training cycling world, Zwift in its simplest terms is an online meta world basically, where you have a bike, a virtual avatar. It offers the ability to race, the ability to do group rides, the ability to do events. If you want more info, watch that other video that I did on that. But this video today, we're going to talk about how to maximize fat burning efficiently when you're doing zone 2 training on Zwift. When you're doing zone 2 training, the goal is to stay within a specific heart rate zone and a specific power zone. The challenge is when you're trying to do this outside and you're dealing with varying terrain, it can be very easy to go outside of that heart rate or that power range. That's where Zwift comes in, and that's why I love it. Another challenge with zone 2 training is when you're riding outside, stopping at the multiple stoplights. If you're in a big city like I am, it takes away at least 3 to 5 minutes at every stoplight. Now, while there are different ways to get your zone 2 training zones, the most practical way for people like you and I is to do an FTP test. Once you do the FTP test, you take about 55 to 75% of your FTP, and that is usually your zone 2 power range. You can also take a percentage of your max heart rate to get your zone 2 training zones for your heart rate. Knowing these two data points is very critical for you to do zone 2 training successfully and maximize your fat burning benefits. And getting your FTP is very easy. Whether you have Zwift or Trainer Road, both platforms offer options to get your FTP. And if you're interested in seeing how that works, I also have a video where I've gone through both Zwift ramp tests and the Trainer Road ramp test. Once you have your zone 2 power zones and your heart rate zones, you're ready to get started in doing zone 2 training in Zwift. There's different options that you can use to achieve this. One of the ways is just picking a flat terrain in one of the Zwift worlds. The flat terrain is very key because you want to make sure that you stay in your zone 2 power zones and your zone 2 heart zones. Otherwise, the work is rendered useless. Another way to achieve zone 2 training in Zwift and maximize your fat burning efficiency is by doing the pace partner rides. And you can easily find a pace partner ride, go into the Zwift world, match it up with your watts per kilogram, which is what the pace partners rides are broken down to. Whatever that falls into for your zone 2, pick that ride and you can join one. This is my preferred method because once you're in there, you can have social interactions with the Zwift companion app, talk to other people who are riding along with you, and I believe you get extra points when you're riding along with the pace partner. Now, another way to achieve this is just by creating a workout in Zwift and instilling the free ride option into that. This allows you to do zone 2 training within different worlds if you want to complete certain maps and things like that. And while you're in the workout mode in free ride, it's not going to adjust to the terrain and such as if you would in a normal ride. For me personally, I prefer the free ride or the pace partner rides because it helps me practice my pedal consistency when I'm not being controlled by erg mode. As far as courses that I recommend that are flat and will suit your zone 2 training goals, you can go into Zwift and in each world sort them by elevation. Some of my favorites are Tempest Fugit, TikTok, and the Ocean Lava Cliffside Loop. Just remember that when you're doing zone 2 training, that indeed is your goal for the day. I say that because it's so easy for us to get tempted when we see somebody flying by us in Zwift and we want to chase them down. Don't do that. You want your rides at the end of your ride, you want your power profile, your average watts to be a very consistent line like I did here in this ride today. You don't want your power chart to be all over the place. Just because you have an average power that ends up in your zone 2 range at the end of the ride does not mean that you have completed the ride as effective as you could have. If you have a chart that looks like you're drawing a crayon up and down like a stock market chart, then you did it the wrong way. What you want to do is try to stay consistent and have your net normalized power match up closely to your average power and have that consistent line all throughout your workout, and that's how you know you did a proper zone 2 training workout. You also want your average heart rate range to fall within your zone 2 training as well to make sure that you're doing this effectively. Remember, zone 2 training, our goal for the day is to do zone 2 training. So no races, no Zwift races, nothing like that. Your zone 2 training is aerobic training. And what that means is you're mostly using oxygen and fat as energy during this ride. You're using carbs, but on a minimal level. So as you train more and more in this zone, you'll burn more fat, and also your zone 2 training zones will start to improve. And again, I love Zwift because it's a great option where we don't have cars. I can stay in the certain power range and heart rate range consistently, and I can have a social interaction with people from around the world. And it's that easy, guys. That's all you need to do to use Zwift to maximize your fat burning potential in your zone 2 training rides. Make sure that you stay within the certain heart rate range that applies to you for your zone 2, and make sure you stay within the specific power zone that applies to you when you're riding, and don't deviate from these ranges. If you want tips on how to set up a beer budget friendly pain cave, make sure you watch this video that I did. Other than that, guys, happy training. Talk to you soon.